Welcome back to Time Served, the channel that's getting to docket so you don't have to. Did you need a Kleenex? Just remember what I said, because even though this video has it all, Judge Boyd giving it to an awful mother of six, calling her out on her BS, Miss Johnson Zoom being disconnected mid-hearing, that phrase is still the best part of this clip. I really hope you're enjoying this channel's efforts, digging through hours of archival footage. And if you are, please leave us a comment, it really helps out. Check out this other dreadful mother right here. Like and subscribe, set your notifications to all. Let's roll, nerds.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Who is the prosecutor? All right, the court is calling 2021 CR 7243, State of Texas versus Jessica Lee Johnson. Can I have the parties announced for the record for the state?
Hunter Morris.
For the defense?
Leo Gonzalez.
And are you Ms. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
We're proceeding by video because of the pandemic. Any objection from the state?
No.
Any objection from the defense?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Hunter, Ms. Johnson, I'm showing you a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Appear by Video Conference. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily consented to appear by video. Next, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, I'm showing you the discovery acknowledgement. Have you received all the discovery in this case and that you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Next, Ms. Johnson, I'm showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Proceeding on count two, possession, judge waiving the remaining count.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
I'm here to have some fun, but if you can get to my friends, I'll be gone.
All right, Ms. Johnson, I'm going to show you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes,
Did you
ma'am.
electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Did you understand you're charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 to 200 grams? That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses to this offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against her?
I do.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, off the record for a moment. Mr. Edward Garza is going to go to breakout room number 3 to confer with someone on his case. And Vincent Callahan will talk to you about your case. My understanding, there is no agreement. All right, we're back on the record. Ms. Johnson, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea bargain agreement to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Is she a U.S. citizen? Because the document I have states she is not a U.S. citizen.
She is, Your Honor. When she clicked the drop-down menu, it might have accidentally slipped to the bottom one, but she is a U.S. citizen.
All right, the court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Ma'am.
According to the plea bargain agreement, the state is proceeding on count 2. They're asking that your fine be assessed at $1,500. The state is recommending deferred adjudication. They will take in consideration 2021 CR 6153, County Court Cause number 643002, $114 for laboratory testing and restitution, no contact with Home Depot, and cause number 643002. Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
That is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
It is, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 5 years. There'll be a TAP evaluation and 150 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offensive count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Right.
No, my question is, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No content.
State any evidence to support the defendant's plea.
State offer states Exhibit 1 and attachments, Judge.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Ms. Johnson, I'm showing you what's entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. Do you need to have a Kleenex? I mean, if you need a Kleenex, please take one.
Yes, ma'am. Tracy, where's your tissue, baby?
All right, we're back on the record. After reviewing states Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding you guilty as you apply for deferred adjudication. Are we proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor. Just briefly, Your Honor, just that she understands the issues that are involved in this case. She's working to take care of those issues and take care of her children and stay clear to make sure that she's there for her kids.
All right, who is, Ms. Johnson, who is Ray Hernandez Jr.?
He was just an associate, or a friend of a friend that was riding with me that night.
So you're saying you just pick up somebody random?
No, it was one of my friends. I had met him through a different friend that night, but I have not seen him since the night of the arrest.
Okay, so let's stop playing like we don't know who the people are who are in vehicles with us. Let's not do this friend of a friend or a cousin twice removed.
No, I literally had met him through somebody else, and we have not had contact since that night.
How old are your children?
My oldest is going to be 17. My youngest is 5.
So you're saying you only have 2 children?
No, I said my oldest is 17. My youngest is
No, my
5.
question
I have a
is,
total
how
of
many
6.
children do you have?
I
That
have
was
a
my
total of
question
6.
of you. I'm sorry?
I have a total of 6.
What are their ages?
Sit down. 5, 6, 8, 11, 12, and 17.
And how old are you?
I'm 34.
Where do you work?
Right now, I'm delivering for DoorDash. I was working as a Whataburger, as the lead manager in training for GM at Whataburger.
Has Child Protective Services been in your life?
Like with me and my kids, or as far as when I was a child?
With you and your children?
I've had them one time before, when I had tested positive for marijuana at the beginning of a pregnancy.
Okay, and if you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
Just
And
the
before
marijuana.
you answer, let me let you know, you can be drug tested today. So it's
Yes, ma'am.
best that we meet on a level of honesty. So
Yes.
if you're drug tested today, what are you going to be positive for?
Marijuana, but I quit about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So it should be like light traces, or it won't be strong.
And what other drugs have you used?
In the past, methamphetamines.
When's the last time you used meth?
It's been several weeks on anything else.
No, my question is, when's the last time you used meth?
So several weeks. So probably about 2 to 3 weeks. And on that, it wasn't an everyday thing. It was occasional use. Marijuana has always been my drug of choice.
So where were your children when you're using marijuana and occasionally meth?
With my mother.
So you're telling me in order to use marijuana and meth, you drop your children off with your mother and then go do marijuana or meth?
My mother lives with me.
So now your mother is becoming the mother of your children because you want to use marijuana and meth.
Well, she lives with me just these past couple years that she just moved in, yes.
So what you're telling me again is that your mom becomes a mother to your children so you while you go off and use marijuana and meth. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Sentence you to 5 years deferred adjudication, $1,500 fine, probated. Take in consideration 2021 CR 6153, County Court Cause number 643002. There's to be no contact with Ray Hernandez. No contact with Home Depot. Parenting classes. Random field visits 3 times per month, because someone is now going to have to look out for your children because you're not doing a good job.
Why?
150 hours community service restitution. I'll waive 40 hours if you complete the COVID exam. Whether or not you take the exam is completely up to you. I'm not forcing anyone to do it, but if you do it and you provide proof, the court will waive 40 hours.
They're fine. Why are you listening?
There's going to be excuse me, Ms. Johnson.
You're fine.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
do you want to turn this Wednesday into Monday by being required to appear in court?
No, ma'am.
then you need to focus on this, because if you're in the courtroom, your children would not be in this courtroom. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
There's going to be a UA today. There's going to be weekly Zoom reporting until further notice. Outpatient treatment with probation. We're going to do the UA hotline for her. And Rebecca, have her referred to felony drug court. Rebecca, is there anything else that she needs?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Anything else you need from me, Ms. Johnson, in order to be successful in this probation?
No, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Johnson?
I'm sorry, Judge. You
Yes.
forgot the proof of employment?
Thank you. There's going to be proof of employment within 30 days, and there should be no employment as a home health care provider or anything involving minors. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we can go off the record. Ms. Johnson, you're going to have to do better. There's something in this world that's going on that's called COVID. I know some people don't believe it exists, but each time you go out to do marijuana with friends or do meth with friends, you're bringing back COVID potentially to your children. And if you care about your children, you wouldn't do that. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Get a phone.
And up, you need to show your video.
Ms. Johnson.
It may become a Wednesday for your client, Mr. Gunn.
You mean a Monday?
Yeah, it may become a Monday. See, I'm desperately trying not to make it into a Monday, but it may end up being a Monday.
Ms. Johnson.
You want to try calling her?
Sure, Your Honor. Give me 1 minute.
All right.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Get involved in your life. You're in a quandary, and let me just tell you why you're in a quandary. Your children are depending on you, and you're not being a good parent. Do you understand that you're not a good parent at this point in time?
Yes.
You're going to have to do better, because you know what's going to end up happening? Child Protective Services is going to get involved in your life. I personally don't know why Child Protective Services is not already involved in your life. But if you continue on the path that you're on, what's going to end up happening, you're either going to end up in prison, Child Protective Services is going to end up in your life, or either you're going to take some bad drugs because it's not FDA approved, and your children are probably going to end up seeing that. And that's going to be traumatic to them. And I know you think, oh my gosh, I'm using marijuana away from the house, the children don't know. I'm using meth away from the house, the children don't know. Children know, and children see. That's where we are. So either you're going to be a good parent to your children or you're not. I'm going to send you both to breakout room number 2. Probation will go over conditions with you. Mr. Gonzalez, you can go to 2 with your client, or either you can be excused. And Ms. Bikino, I'll send you to breakout room number 2.